evening. My name is Glenda Johnson, and I am doing an action project video for my interdisciplinary class today. And the subject matter that I chose to do is my social problem is homelessness in America. So first, let me define what homelessness is. In modern day, homelessness in modern day has become defined as the state of a person living without a house or home, typically living on the streets, cars, hallways, hotels, alleyways, or any appropriate facility that is fit or suitable for human habitation or occupancy. So first I want to start by telling you about an event that I attended last month that dealt with homeless veterans. It's a great event that happens every year. It's held in Newark at the John F. Kennedy Pool and Recreation Center. This was on a Saturday, October the 14th, 2017. That particular day, we had all of the veterans come out. They had vendors there. They were giving things away like clothing. They had information booths. Let me see some of the other things. Mental health information, welfare, Social Security, food stamps, addiction information, and so forth, and so on. Now, my role that I played in this event that particular day was I'm an educator in barbering, so I was asked to bring some barbers to the table and some manicurists. So what we did was I gathered some of my students and some barbers from a local barber shop, and we catered to the homeless, doing the services for them. They really enjoyed this event. They were really surprised that this service was even there for them, especially the women with nails. For the nail event. Also that day, we had some officials that came out. One which was a candidate that's running on a ticket with Phil Murphy, Sheila Oliver. We had John Sharp James, and some, just to name a few officials that came out to support the event. During the end of the event, I actually had the opportunity to cut a gentleman's hair that was a veteran who served in World War II. So this was very amazing, the story that he told me, and the excitement that he had about getting a new look. So just to tell you a little bit about that event, it was a great day. It was a great turnout. And now just to go into some of the questions that I want to address in this project. And number one would be what issue do we want to raise awareness in? And that issue would be identifying the homelessness. That homelessness is just not local, but it is a worldwide issue. Statistics show that 100 million people are homeless, and particularly in the local area that I am, 24 are homeless in the city that reside in Newark, New Jersey. Some more statistics. Where do they stay? Impoverished dwellings, tents, or sleeping out. That's 6%. 20% is supported accommodations for the homeless. Staying in temporarily in other households, which is 17%. Another 17% is boarding houses. 1% is other temporary lodging. And 39% is severely overcrowding dwellings. Okay. Also, I like to describe the community learners. The community learners would be a group of people from the age of 18 to 23. Their personality is ESFJ, and that personality is social, caring, and very people oriented. And also, let's see some other questions here. Some of the people who are, some of the organizations that are in Newark that deal with homelessness are a few of them, to name a few: Helping the Homelessness 3 LLC, the Apostles House, a New Community, Goodwill Rescue Mission, Covenant House, Newark Emergency Services for Families Homeless, the Episcopal Community Development, just to name a few. Just moving right along. Okay. And one of the questions is, how do this issue reproduce inequality? And I would say that is that it stabilizes a very clear distinction between the haves and have-nots. Let's see. Okay. All right, so just to finish up, that is going to be the finishing of my report. But I also want to introduce to you today someone who is a veteran who was homeless. And I am honored and pleased that he's given me the opportunity to interview him. Just to give you a little bit about him, he is a United States veteran who was once homeless, but his current status is not homeless. This person is the Colonel Robert Burrows, and we call him Kentucky Colonel Robert Burrows. Now, Colonel Robert Burrows, why do we say Kentucky?
Because the organization that it is, it's a charitable organization. Mm. They protect the governor of Kentucky, but to become one, another colonel has to actually nominate you.
Okay.
And in nominating, they investigate you. They find out what you've done for charity during your whole lifetime.
Okay.
And once they decide who you are, then you become one. Okay. And other people that are Kentucky colonels, you'll be surprised.
Right.
And on top of everything else, you don't pay dues. And you do get a couple nice things out of it. You get a seat at the Kentucky Derby if you can get down there too.
Okay. And let me just go over, just to introduce you to Kentucky Colonel Robert Burrows, his background. He was born and raised seventh generation in Paterson, New Jersey. He attended public school. Graduated from Central High School. Then he spent 4 years in the U.S. Army Security Agency, and while in the military, he was trained as an electronic counter measuring spy and instructor of terminal intercept equipment. He obtained a degree in electronic engineering and political science from Harvard University in Massachusetts, and a computer science degree from Princeton University in New Jersey. Also, he obtained other minor degrees from other universities in New Jersey, such as an automotive technical degree from Lincoln Tech in New Jersey, and he held his own businesses ranging from electronics to restoring antique cars. He worked for Fortune 500 companies, some of which were like North American Phillips and BMW. He served in Vietnam 6 times on temporary duty, and then became a partner in an electronic security and audio video home company. And he still maintains his top secret clearance. And he does pro bono consultant for NSA, which is the National Security Agency. So here again, I will welcome Colonel Robert Burrows.
I consider myself a success of the homeless programs here in New Jersey. I was at home. My 90-some-year-old mother actually put water in the furnace, which blew the furnace up, which caused us to have no heat. And this was the winter of 2014. She was messed up on her meds, so therefore I got the ambulance squad to take her to the hospital. Well, myself, I had to stay there with no heat, and my legs, which I have lymphedema, and they become infected. So I couldn't go much further than just the kitchen. Finally, I was able to get an appointment with the VA wound nurse because all the snowstorms was hard to get to them, because in between I couldn't get there or they weren't there. So finally, two of my friends came out and physically carried me out to a car and brought me to the VA in East Orange. There, the wound nurse saw me, saw how bad the legs were, and she took me by the ear and actually had me put into the hospital immediately and operated on that night. So it was almost to the point of losing the leg. I had to sign the thing saying they could take it. So that, they cured the problem for a moment. Then I went into rehab and everything for it, which the interesting thing about rehab is they only give you 90 days. Now my problem with the leg and the infection is similar to a burn.
Okay.
So therefore it doesn't heal that quickly. So 90 days, it went real fast, and I still wasn't able to walk that well. So I'm in a wheelchair, and I was then sent to what they said was going to be another rehab place I could go to. I got there in an ambulance, and the ambulance people were going to just drop me off there. But the man that ran that, he says, we do not accept wheelchairs, because you have to walk, and I couldn't. So therefore, I said, well, take him back to the original place. We called them and they said, no, he's been released, we don't take him back. He has to go back to a hospital, which at that point I was not able to go to a hospital. So I went down into the city of Patterson, where I was a curator for a museum. We got together and we worked a way for me to stay in different places, because I couldn't get into my home anymore. Because while I was at the rehab, my mother did die, and she was in charge of everything of the house. So the house wasn't mine until that went through all the legal things. And the house is a 3-story building that was not wheelchair acceptable. And there was no way I could go there. So now I'm really in bad shape, hanging out and hiding in places. Found out that your shelters for homeless, they bring you in the afternoon, say 4 o'clock, and by 9 o'clock they throw you out. So you're on the street. But you're not safe in those places.
Right.
Any homeless person will tell you that. And here I am with a wheelchair. That wheelchair could disappear overnight and I wouldn't even know it. So finally, the infection came back real bad in the leg. So they had to get me back to the VA hospital, which the VA hospital then finally got me to a program in Lyons. Brought me to a place where they could care for it.
Right.
And in caring for it, I rehabilitated there, but now I'm homeless. They can't release me. There's nobody can release me to, because I had no relatives living in the area that even had a place to put me. So now, again, being homeless, but they have a program at Lyons, and it's called the domiciliary, which you learn how to come from being homeless and how to go back into real life and have a place. And of course, you deal with all the normal homeless things people always talk about, which is not true as far as the majority of homeless. And they say, well, the drug problems or the alcohol problems and the PTSD and such, well, it's taken care of there. But I had none of those problems. So after going through the course, they were putting me into a program which HUD has to supply most of the rent into apartments. You have to do the footwork and find the apartments. I was lucky from the Harrison Square Park apartments. They sent a person representing and said, we're looking for somebody 62 years old and happens to be in a wheelchair. And so I was able to come here. I took a look at the place, fell in love with it. It was an apartment nobody ever lived in before. That never happened my whole life. It had a new car smell, I guess you want to call it. And I'm here, and the city of Newark, through their HUD program, they take care of the supplementing my rent, because I'm only on a fixed income of Social Security. So that's why I feel I'm successful, because now I've been here for 2 years,
Right.
and I don't see any reason to not be here the rest of my life, and more than likely. So I'm lucky. Everything fell into place. The VA had a good program.
Wow.
The city of Newark was accommodating.
Right.
They didn't know me for anything because I'm 7th generation Patterson, so
Right.
they were able to help.
Wow. Wow. What a story. And I thank you so much for sharing. Also, I want to say too that the city of Newark is contemplating on opening up a city-run shelter to supplement the already existing shelters coalition for the homeless right now. I am a part of a subcommittee that is working, trying to do something for the homeless right now, and hopefully that will be a what you want to say to people that may be watching this, or the homeless. Any other final words?
Well, just remember, at any time, any given time, anybody, no matter who you are, you could be the richest man on earth. If something happens to change your life, you could become homeless. Homeless is not just restricted to people that make mistakes. It's restricted to everybody. Anybody can be. And I feel, having successfully gone through programs, I will always be giving back to the people and helping out the homeless wherever I can.
Okay, great. And what I've learned in reference to this class and how I relate this to the class that I'm learning is that the topic of multidisciplines, which in a case where homeless, they have to go through a psychiatrist, a social worker, and a medical doctor to get screened to help to diagnose what's going on. And so I relate that to the multidisciplinary studies that I'm learning. So I'm Glenda Johnson. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.
Well, I'm a homeless man, and I live out on the street. People toss me $1 so I can get a bite to eat. I sleep in the bus shelter just to try and find some heat. Now you have seen me on the corner in my favorite part of town. My clothes are soiled and dirty, yeah, from sleeping on the ground. You cross over to avoid me, whatever street you're walking down. Now one time an angel gave me a brand new $50 bill. Some punks, they stole my money and they beat me all to hell. When I tried to call the policeman, Lord, they threw me in a cell. I used to have my own room with a TV and a bed, till I lost all my employment for being being drunk at 10 a.m. If I had another chance now, I just might do the same again. But I ain't never heard nobody, that is except myself sometime. My brain's a little foggy from all the years of too much wine. Won't you please give me a handout so I can ease this pain inside?